At what point in your life did video games go from being an escape from reality, full of immersion and depth, with the game being limited only to your imagination, to something that you now do just to pass the time? If you're anything like me, you've probably noticed that as of lately, gaming's ability to entertain players is seemingly grinded to a halt. Now, this may be due to my age, my mentality, or even the state of the world right now, but as it stands, video games just seem to have lost their luster that they once had, not just for me, but a majority of gamers. Where did this magic go? In every age, the good old days were a myth. No one ever thought they were good at the time. For every age has consisted of crises that seemed intolerable to the people who lived through them. Brooks Atkinson. If you're close to my age, I think we can all say that they don't make games like they used to. We all seem to look back on fonder times when games were better and well-crafted. Now, it feels like nearly every new release is just another half-baked 8th installment title with just as many bugs as there are cosmetics to pay for. We all look back on times that were easier and less complex than adult life. This, friends, is called nostalgia. If you're young enough to not relate to this, don't worry, this feeling may haunt you too, just like it has for me. Times were simpler and more fun back then. I've made memories with people I may never encounter again, both online and in real life. This action of looking back with empty fondness is a feeling that I both love and loathe. I would argue, though, that nostalgia itself stems from experiencing a time when life was easier, not just because it was, but instead due to the lack of spatial awareness on the real state of the world. I would even argue that this era of technology that we're in has removed the cloak of arrogance for all, young and old, and revealed a form of nostalgia that I can only describe as dangerous. At this day and age, we're at a point where nearly every single conflict or societal issue is inflated to a knee-jerk reaction and spread across the internet for likes, retweets, or shares. Now, that's not to minimize or to take away from the harsh realities of societal issues that are present today, but rather to point out the fact that, plain and simple, it's depressing. It's incredibly depressing to, on a daily basis, see nothing but chaos and madness every direction you look. The earth is heating up,
ice caps are melting, tornadoes in December, COVID everywhere, people are dying, racial inequality, wealth inequality, sexual discrimination, Russia and Ukraine.
So is it any wonder that video games, let alone anything you can do for entertainment, has gotten less interesting? The world isn't this happy place where everyone gets along like we all thought it would back in 2nd grade. Instead, it's much scarier than that. With everyone being so connected, conflicts across the globe are accessible everywhere mere minutes after taking place. We can see everything bad everywhere in the world, 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It's no wonder we're all depressed. People who have never dealt with depression think it's just being sad or being in a bad mood. That's not what depression is for me. It's falling into a state of grayness and numbness. Dan Reynolds. It's no question why depression stats have been on the uptick lately, especially considering how the past 2 years have gone. Generally, I feel like most people have a fairly bleak outlook on the future of the world. We're at such an odd point in history where the future is just so uncertain. I can't blame myself or others for feeling like it's hard to even want to continue on at times. Now, I'm not sure how much experience you have with this feeling, but I can say from my own personal experiences that when you're depressed, nothing around you seems fun. Rather, things to do just become things to do, actions to pass the time until you have to do it all again tomorrow. Reeling things back towards video games a bit, if most of us are depressed or at a minimum living with this waning outlook on life, then it's no surprise that video games are so hard to enjoy. When it's difficult to accomplish basic tasks, such as getting out of bed, brushing your teeth, or showering, it's just as laborious to sit down and get an opportunity to really immerse yourself in a video game. When you're depressed, everything turns gray. Not just life or laughter or relationships, but even things we enjoy. It robs you of anything and everything entertaining. Hobbies, interests, entertainment, everything. Look, this isn't to take away from the fact that yes, video game publishers and developers have gotten lazy. A fully released game today is almost expected to have a disturbing number of bugs or glitches within it. Maybe this comes from the internet's impact on gaming. I mean, before, game developers had to make sure a game was fully complete on launch, seeing as there was no way to go back in and fiddle with typos or oopsies that devs were too lazy to fix or too crunched to fix. Now, games can be launched completely broken, riding on hype from fans, and still break sales records. Game-breaking issues can be completely overlooked with the anticipation that they'll be fixed later with updates and patches, but only after fans have already shelled out the cash. All of these issues are valid, yet I do think that we should look other directions besides just this. This nearly universal feeling of games aren't fun anymore isn't just a single this is it, wrap it up issue in my opinion. Instead, it's a result of different elements coming together for one big concoction of mediocrity. With the state of everything around us, this growing weight of depression haunting us, this feeling of impending doom, topped off with barely working games launched by AAA developers, I mean, can you blame some of us for feeling like games have lost their luster?